Good morning, everyone. Every life is a mosaic, not a single picture, but thousands of small pieces, moments, risk, failures, and breakthroughs. Some pieces are bright, some are difficult, but together they shape who we become. And today, I want to share how my own mosaic, piece by piece, led me to where I am now. My name is Nikki Tang. I am the CEO of Demark Beauty and Derm Asia Corporation, and our companies focus on dermocosmetics and medical aesthetics in the Philippines. But the titles only tell a small part of the story. What truly drives me is building an ecosystems where doctors, entrepreneurs, and innovators grow together. Because to me, beauty is not just about appearance, it is about confidence, empowerment, and opportunity. Let me begin with a simple truth about entrepreneurship. Some people think success begins with a brilliant idea, but in reality, it often begins with uncertainty. When I first started my business, I remember sitting in a meeting room full of potential partners who were deciding whether they would work with us. At that time, I was young, still learning, and representing small Filipino company that very few people know. I could sense the hesitation in the room, and quietly I asked myself, do they believe we can do this? Looking back now, I realized something. That moment was not the whole picture of my journey. It was simply one small piece of a much larger mosaic. And that is why the theme, the human mosaic, resonates so deeply with me. A mosaic is made of many small pieces. Individually, each piece may look random, imperfect, or even broken. But when you step back, those pieces come together to form something meaningful. Our lives and our careers are built the same way. Each decision, each challenge, each perspective we bring becomes part of a larger picture. My story in the beauty and aesthetics industry is simply one piece of that mosaic. The first piece, curiosity. Like many of you, I did not graduate from college with a perfect plan. I studied manufacturing, engineering, and management, but at the time, I was still exploring what I really wanted to do with my life. I briefly worked in a dental care business, yet something inside me left unfinished. And then I kept asking myself questions. Was I in the right place? What kind of work would truly excite me? Could I build something meaningful? So sometimes the first piece of your mosaic is not confidence. Sometimes it is simply curiosity. Then an opportunity appeared. My family came across a breakthrough skincare product called Neostrata. It is from the United States. And at that time, scientific skincare was still very new in the Philippines. Dermocosmetics were not widely understood, and skincare was often viewed purely as cosmetic rather than clinical. But something about the science behind it fascinated me. So, in 1998, I decided to take a leap of faith and start a company called Dmark Beauty. At that time, I did not fully realize it, but I was stepping into an industry that was still developing in the Philippines. Entrepreneurship often begins that way. stepping to something before the market fully understands its potential. The second piece, risk. So, risk introducing dermocosmetics to the Philippine market was not easy. Many people were unfamiliar with the idea of science based products, skincare. Doctors were still building awareness around clinical skin treatments. Consumers were just beginning to understand the difference between cosmetic beauty and medical skincare. In many ways, we were introducing an entirely new category. And with that came risk. The unconventional truth that about risk is if you wait for the market to be ready, then you are already too late. Entrepreneurship often requires believing in something before others see its value. At the time, we were not simply selling products, we were helping educate doctors, clinics, consumers about a new way of understanding skin health. That required patience, it required persistence, and most importantly, it required belief. The third piece, rejection. Along the way, there were many moments of doubt. Some international partners questioned whether a small Filipino company could represent their brands. Some believed the market was not ready. And like many entrepreneurs, I experienced rejection. There were moments where I have to ask myself, am I ready for this responsibility? But rejection teaches you something important. Sometimes, rejection is not a bad idea. It simply means you are early. Rejection doesn't always mean no, but rather not yet. And often, the people who help shape new industries are the ones willing to keep moving forward even when the path is uncertain. The fourth piece, building something bigger as the industry began to grow. I realized something important. If we wanted the beauty and aesthetic industry to truly grow in the Philippines, we could not simply focus on selling products. We needed to build an ecosystem, and that meant working closely with dermatologists, aesthetic doctors, clinics, and entrepreneurs. It meant supporting education, training, and innovation. Over time, it led me to start another company. In 2004, Derm Asia Corporation. Now, Derm Asia ecosystem, our goal was to introduce advanced aesthetic technologies and medical devices to doctors and clinics in the Philippines. At that time, the aesthetic industry we see today was still developing. In many ways, we were helping build the category even before the market existed. When people see these photos, they might think they show the success of one company. But what they really show is something bigger. Over the years, I didn't just try to build a business, I built an ecosystem where dermatologists, scientists, global brands, and entrepreneurs come together to learn from each other and grow together. Because innovation rarely happens in isolation. Different people, different ideas, and different experiences connect. And when they do, that's when real transformation begins. Building an ecosystem required taking unconventional steps and investing in long term possibilities. But it also showed me something powerful. When different people bring their ideas, their expertise, and perspectives together, they create something far greater than any one person can build alone. That is the essence of a human mosaic. The fifth piece, resilience. Entrepreneurship is often portrayed as something exciting and glamorous. But the truth is that building a business also involves a lot of uncertainty. There were moments when business challenges felt overwhelming, moments when I questioned my own decisions, moments when balancing leadership, family, and personal life was incredibly difficult. I am also a mother, and like many parents, I often ask myself if I'm doing enough for my children while leading a company. Entrepreneurship is not about always appearing confident. Sometimes it is simply about continuing forward even when you feel so uncertain. And those moments of vulnerability are also pieces of mosaic. They shape who we become as leaders. And over time, people began calling me something I truly embrace today, a beautypreneur. To me, being a beautypreneur is not simply about selling beauty products. It is about using beauty as a platform to empower confidence, wellness, and opportunity. Through this journey, I came to understand something deeper about beauty. Beauty is power, not superficial power, but the quiet power that comes from confidence, self worth, and transformation. When people feel confident in their own skin, they show up differently in the world and they take risks. They speak up, they pursue opportunity they once thought were beyond their reach. Through DMARC Beauty and Derm Asia, we have been fortunate to support dermatologists, aesthetic professionals, and entrepreneurs across the country. Many clinics and small businesses have grown alongside us, and many others succeed has become one of the most meaningful parts of this journey. And when I look back at my journey now, I realize something. It was never defined by one bold decision. It was built piece by piece. Curiosity, risk, rejection, innovation, community. Each piece mattered. And just like a mosaic, the picture continues to evolve. You do not need to see the entire mosaic to begin. You only need the courage to place the next piece. Because one day, when you step back, you will realize that every challenge you face, every risk you took, and every lesson you learned helped create something meaningful. The human mosaic is never finished. Each generation adds new ideas, new perspectives, and new possibilities. And perhaps one day, your story will become another piece that helps shape our shared future. Now, I want to speak directly to the students here today. Each of you represents a unique piece of the human mosaic. Your ideas, your perspectives, and your experiences will shape in many ways that none of us can fully understand and predict today. Some of you may become entrepreneurs. Some may become scientists. Some artists, doctors, or innovators in the fields we have not yet imagined. Whatever path you choose, remember that meaningful journeys rarely appear perfectly clear at the beginning. Most paths reveal themselves one piece at a time. And when I look at these moments, I don't just see milestones. I see people. I see lessons. I see who am I today and what shaped me today. Because none of us build our lives alone. Every challenge, every opportunity, every person we meet adds another piece to our story. And just like a mosaic, our journey is never finished. We are always growing and always evolving, always becoming. So, wherever you are in your own journey today, remember this: every step you take is already shaping the person you are meant to become. piece by piece. Thank you.